Live from the CSI Soccer Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents exclusive NCAA Division III women's soccer coverage. This afternoon's matchup features the Ravens of Rosemont College taking on the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, joined for the first time this season by Tom Krichkowski, bringing you all of the action live from midfield during today's game. And Tom, the Dolphins come in playing extremely well. They're coming off back-to-back wins over Lehman and Brooklyn College. It's been a great season for CSI. What has impressed you most about the Dolphins this year?
You know, what has impressed me the most is their ability to move the ball throughout the field. You know, in seasons past, they've really relied on the kick and run game and the speed. This season, under new head coach Brittany Caceres, you've really seen the team possess the ball, play that tiki-taka style where they possess the ball and move it down the field with a lot of passes instead of just hoping for that home run ball. But now they've slowly improved. In the beginning of the season, they struggled to pick up with the concept, but as the season has gone on, they've picked it up more and more, and has shown they've scored plenty of goals, feeding Samantha Laval up top, and she's capitalized throughout the season.
Well, you mentioned the Dolphins' goal-scoring prowess. CSI averaging nearly 3.5 goals per game this year while holding opponents under 2 goals per game, and that is certainly a recipe for success. Of course, in the CUNYAC, tremendous success as well. They completed an unbeaten season in the conference with their last victory over Brooklyn. And you mentioned Samantha Laval leading the way in scoring for the College of Staten Island with 14 goals on the season and 29 points overall. And Mashada Polinkovic, another newcomer to the team, right behind her with 6 goals and 7 assists. Lauren Smith also contributing 5 goals and 7 assists. And time again, Mike and I have talked about how the Dolphins have dominated possession and how they've gotten contributions from top to bottom on this roster throughout 2018.
You know, Lauren Smith really dominates the center of the pitch. She controls the tempo, and she feeds the ball to her forwards with this style of play that the Dolphins have implied this season. You know, they're running a 4-3, and they've been hitting the wing players. And one of those wing players that has really made a difference this season has been Mashada Polinkovic. She's come in, she started the season as a left back, and as the season progressed, she has moved up into a left midfielder, and even up all the way up to, the left winger role, and she's made an impact, beating players along the left flank. And if it's whether she's crossing the ball into one of her teammates in the middle, or if she's taking that cut in and having a shot on goal.
Well, we mentioned the Dolphins' last game, a win over Brooklyn, preceded by a win over Lehman. And I'm going back to that game against Brooklyn for just a moment, our last broadcast, because that's one opponent that these two teams have in common this year. And it was a dominant performance for the Dolphins in that game. 50 shots overall, half of those on goal. The Dolphins scoring 4 goals in that game, 2 by Victoria Sanchez and 1 each by seniors Brianna DiStefano and Alexa Appel, each getting a senior day goal in that game. We were joined by Brianna for a post-game interview following that game as well, and she told us that their biggest focus entering the CUNYAC tournament is paying attention to what they're doing rather than what the other team is doing. You, a former college soccer player yourself, how do you take that from Brianna, and is that something that you struggled with or dealt with during your collegiate soccer career?
You know, it's very important to focus on yourself more so than the other team. Of course, you want to know what the other team is up to, but you can't control the other team. You can control yourself, what performance you put out on the field during the game. And, going into the playoffs, we assume maybe the championship to go for their 4th straight, I believe it is. And, you gotta take it one game at a time. And like I said earlier, it's on you. So what Brianna said holds true. You gotta really focus on yourself, get yourself in the mental mindset that you got to go one game at a time, and the style of play will change as the season progresses in the championship.
Well, in asking her about that, I may have jumped the gun just a little bit. It's easy to forget that there's one more game left on the schedule against Rosemont College today, that last game against Brooklyn, their final CUNYAC game of the season, as you get a look at the women's soccer standings as the regular season wraps up in the CUNYAC. Still one game left to be played between CCNY and Lehman, and that game will determine who is the 3 seed and who is the 4 seed. So still a big game left in women's CUNYAC soccer, but mentioning the matchup against Brooklyn, the last game the Dolphins played, also a team that Rosemont College played as well, and in that game, Rosemont took 23 shots, 10 of which were on goal. They won the game 4-0 over Brooklyn as well, and in that game, Brooklyn took only 3 shots, 2 of which were on goal. Against the Dolphins, the Bulldogs did not get a single shot in that game, so a very convincing win for the College of Staten Island over Brooklyn College the other day, and they'll hope for more of the same in this one against the Ravens. As I'll get a quick look at the Ravens stats before we break, and get the starters and have the playing of the national anthem here at the CSI Soccer Complex. About 2 minutes to go until that, so we'll get a quick look at this Ravens team. Rosemont comes in averaging only 1.36 goals per game this season. Opponents scoring nearly 3.5 goals against them, and that's right about where the Dolphins are in terms of goals scored per game. And I've said this in just about every broadcast so far this season, but looking at the numbers, it's often the case that the opposition will need to be far better than their season averages against the CSI Dolphins team.
Yeah, you mentioned it for sure, Joe. You know, the potent offense really poses issues for opposing defenses, and especially on their home pitch, the Dolphins are very potent here. So if they can get it going, the Dolphins it'll be a long day for Rosemont.
A one double-digit goal scorer for Rosemont. That's Messiana Mazzeo leading the way with 10 goals on the season, 21 points overall, added an assist to those 10 goals as well. Some other multiple goal scorers for Rosemont, only 2. Madeline Polino with 4 goals and Emily Johnston with 3 goals of her own. So CSI with 3 names right there that they can look to slow down on this Rosemont College Ravens team in an effort to keep them off the scoreboard. As I mentioned before, Rosemont is struggling for goals this season, averaging only 1.36 goals per game.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and look for Averly Bremel to get going in the center of the pitch. She's the team leader in assists with 3. She's going to try and pick apart that Dolphins back line like a lock today and really see if she can crack it and give the ball to Mazzeo up top. And if they can do that, you know, that's something not many teams have been able to crack this season. You have to get past Catherine Mulligan and that back line to get a shot on Kayla DiBenedetto.
And we've been starved for close competitive games here on CSI Sportsnet. The Dolphins have handled many of their opponents quite easily so far this season, several multi-goal victories. And taking a quick look down the schedule here at home, only one-goal game that we covered on CSI Sportsnet. The next closest game was a 4-2 victory over CCNY. But we have plenty of reasons to believe this game today may break that trend in our final regular season home broadcast of 2018. So with about 30 seconds to go before the introduction of the starters and playing of the national anthem, we will step aside. When we come back, Dolphins take on the Ravens here on CSI Sportsnet.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. But if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in! Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ache than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
I remember, Dad, you and Mom got this car with a hatchback. I said, you know, I'd be happy to give you the money to get a really great car. And he said, well, no, this works for me. I says, why? Because it's the right height to put the meals in. Dad, tell me when you first got an inkling about Meals on Wheels.
There was kind of an abandoned house. That's where we got started with Meals on Wheels. We kind of filled a need for people as they got older.
It's the human interaction that probably fed them much more than the food.
Oh, yeah. When you can see somebody else benefiting by your life in some way, you can't help but feel good about it, I think.
Well, the reason I'm involved, Dad, is because you are, and you're so inspiring. How you've impacted people is enormous.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise?
Surprise!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do it like that, Uncle Drew.
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same. Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more. Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more. Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
And we're back from the CSI Soccer Complex. Starting lineups are being introduced directly to my right now. My broadcast partner, Tom Krichkowski, also doubling as the public address announcer. And the starters for the Dolphins are being introduced at the moment. In just a few moments, we'll be breaking shortly for the national anthem. So I'll wait until the conclusion of the anthem to share the starters with you, because it's unlikely I'll get through the entirety of both teams' starting lineups before that point. But taking a look at your screen, you see the records for both sides. CSI entering with a record of 9-6. Overall, a perfect 6-0 in the CUNYAC Conference this year. Rosemont enters with a record of 4-10. During the pregame, we mentioned one common opponent between these two teams. That opponent was Brooklyn College. Both the Dolphins and Ravens defeated Brooklyn College by a score of 4-0. The second common opponent was Keystone College. The Dolphins defeated them 6-0. And the Ravens fell at the hands of the Giants 4-2. And the national anthem is about to be played, so we'll step aside for just a moment and come back with the starting lineups. And we are back, and as promised, I have the starting lineups for both teams, beginning first with the visiting Ravens of Rosemont College. In goal is number 29, Emma Lindsay. The rest of the starters in numerical order for the Ravens: number 2, Lauren Lightcap; number 3, Destiny Castro; number 4, Colleen Hall; number 7, Jamie Hauser; number 8, Avery Bremel; number 11, Darby O'Rourke; number 13, Madeline Polino; number 15, Emily Johnson; number 16, Amber Buck; and number 21, Masiana Mazeo. And I do have two different spellings. I have Emily Johnson, number 15, on the official roster, and Johnston on the official stats for Rosemont, so I'm not sure which one's correct. I'll double check that when we have a moment. The starting lineup for the College of Staten Island: in goal, 00, Kayla DiBenedetto. The rest of the Dolphins starters in numerical order: number 2, Lauren Smith; number 3, Paulina Ambris; number 5, Rebecca DeLoya; number 7, Victoria Sanchez; number 8, Nermina Bracic; number 13, Lisbeth Aparicio; number 16, Catherine Mulligan; number 21, Samantha Laval; number 22, Brianna DiStefano; and number 24, Mersada Palinkovic. Actually, there was one late change to the Dolphins starting lineup. Nermina Bracic heads to the bench as a substitute. Adriana Perello will start in her place. That was a late change as Adriana arrived just a short time ago, and now I'm rejoined by Tom Krichkowski. I got through the starting lineup for you after you had the opportunity to address the fans here in attendance. It is going to be a cold one here at the College of Staten Island. Temperatures down in the 40s for the first time this season. The final home game of the regular season. What are you looking for from this Dolphins team?
I'm looking for a fast start here today. You know, both of these teams, like we mentioned in the pregame show, beat Brooklyn 4-0, but the Dolphins seem to have a little bit more power and more offense than Rosemont can handle. You know, going back throughout their schedule, another key component that both teams played was Keystone College, in which the Dolphins beat 6-0. However, Keystone beat Rosemont 4-2. So look for that to play and to have an effect today, as the Dolphins, you know, may have looked at the schedule and can say, hey, listen, we beat them this team 6-0. They lost. Let's try and get off to a fast start. You know, let's try not to get injured. Let's make it to the CUNYAC playoffs unscathed, and let's have a good game.
All right, so I did double check with the official roster given to us by Rosemont, and the name on there for number 15 is Emily Johnston with a T, so that is what I will go with from this point forward. Here on our printout we have Johnson, so Emily Johnston wearing number 15 for the Ravens in this one, as the Dolphins will possess the ball first. Samantha Laval stands in the midfield circle, and we are set to get underway from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins and Ravens in the final home match of the 2018 regular season, and very quickly that ball is played over the near sideline, and we'll have an early Ravens throw-in.
You know, that ball was played right to Victoria Sanchez here on this left flank. Victoria Sanchez is one of the fastest players for the Dolphins, so if she's able to get a ball out in open space, look for her to make an impact.
And we'll see if her speed is affected at all by that ankle injury she suffered in the last game. It's good to see her back out there such a short time after suffering what appeared to be a bad ankle sprain, but just in the very next game, only a couple of days later, she is right back out there on the pitch for the College of Staten Island as Rosemont moves the ball side to side in the defensive third of the field, looking to move forward. And receiving that pass was Destiny Castro. Now with it is Lightcap. Her pass knocked down. Samantha Laval tried to make a move through that back line and unable to do so as the ball trickles toward midfield. Intercepted by Rebecca DeLoya, who moves in with some speed. And she fires one on goal just inside that left post.
You know, Rebecca DeLoy did actually start the season where Victoria Sanchez is playing. It's more of an attacking role. Wasn't really, you know, feeling the position. She felt more comfortable playing in the defensive line, so the switch was made, and hence why you see Victoria Sanchez and now Mersada Palinkovic up in the attack.
We've seen some shifts in position for many Dolphins so far this season, including what you just mentioned. And I did notice in prior broadcasts that DeLoya was at the forward spot in some games and then on that back line in others, and wasn't confident enough to bring light to it myself as I didn't have a defensive alignment in front of me. So that's why you're here to point things like that out. A former collegiate soccer player, much more knowledge of the game than I have, as DeLoya chips it up into the air toward the midfield circle. Getting a foot on it was Johnston. Now Adriana Perello has possession, and it's taken away for a moment by the Ravens. Dolphins get it right back. Lauren Smith passes over to Ambris. It's knocked away by Bremel. Comes down on the foot of Lauren Smith once again, who finds Lisbeth Aparicio along the far sideline. Aparicio moves toward the inside, and that's cleared away by Bremel towards the midfield circle, and attempting to gain possession is Paulino. She retreats a short distance and finds Johnston just outside the midfield circle. Johnston's pass intercepted by DeLoya. Two teams fight for possession now as Perello comes away with it and finds Lauren Smith. Smith's pass just a bit too far ahead of Samantha Laval as the ball is knocked toward the midfield circle and chipped up in the air by Aparicio. Fighting for it are Hall and Ambrose, and the Ravens come away with it as Mazzeo finds Johnston. Her pass intercepted by Perello. DeLoya along the near sideline moves the ball back toward the middle of the field. And Perello just off the toes of Ambrose. It's rolling ahead. Ambrose giving chase, but getting there first is Avery Bermel, who clears it out toward midfield. Finds Catherine Mulligan of the Dolphins. Mersada Polinkovic has it, moving forward slowly, looking for Ambrose along the far sideline. That pass intercepted. It winds up back with the Dolphins. That ball towards Laval off the foot of a Raven, and looked like Victoria Sanchez may have tried to play that ball back toward Ambrose. Instead, Rosemont now has possession moving toward midfield. Johnston's attempted pass is knocked down. She fights for it with DeLoya. That was on the foot of Hauser for a moment, and once again Johnston's pass partially blocked by DeLoya. This one sent up in the air across midfield off the head of Di Stefano and onto the foot of DeLoya, who goes down but got rid of the ball in time. And that one off the head of DeLoya over the near sideline. Some fast-paced play early on, Tom.
Yeah, you know, like we said, the pace of the game has been quick, but you can see that Rosemont has done its due diligence in terms of scouting, as both center backs are right on each shoulder of Samantha Laval, not really giving her time to turn, settle the ball, and pass it off, or even try and turn and put a shot on goal. So you can definitely see that they know the strengths of the Dolphins' offense.
On our last broadcast, it was attacking pressure exerted by the Dolphins from start to finish. Brooklyn simply didn't muster anything on the attack, did not take a shot in that game, and the one opportunity they had to score did not result in a shot, as a good defensive play by Rebecca DeLoya cut down Kerry Kenna in front of goal, as Samantha Laval makes a nice move toward the top of the box, now moving laterally toward the right sideline, gives it up to Paulina Ambrose. Ambrose tried to play it back into the box. That pass a weak one. The Ravens keep it in. And Dolphins intercepted as Polinkovic fires towards goal, and that is off the hands of Emma Lindsay.
Yeah, Polinkovic now playing in the center of the pitch today. So we already mentioned earlier in this game that she started the season as a left back, moved up to a left winger, and now she's playing in the center of the pitch.
Here's another look at that last shot by Polinkovic, and Mike and I discussed it during our last broadcast. She can score from quite a far distance away, as this one's heading towards us, and thought I might get my first touch of the year, and unfortunately did not. Perhaps fortunately, as we have our first substitution of the game, and Nermina Bracic will make an early entry, replacing Victoria Sanchez, who heads straight over to the trainer's table, so perhaps she'll get that ankle looked at once again.
You know, with Nermina Bracic coming on, you're essentially replacing speed with speed. Both are a very similar type player, and the game plan for Rosemont or the Dolphins should not change. You've got to watch for the speed and feed the speed into open space.
Di Stefano has it just beyond the midfield stripe, finds Lauren Smith, who plays the ball toward the far sideline. Aparicio now passes ahead, and that gets through into the box, and the Ravens will meet that ball there. Dribble it toward the corner and try and pass it up. Dolphins intercepted it, and firing in, I believe, was Aparicio, who got a foot on it in a lot of traffic, and it rolls into the arms of Emma Lindsay.
You know, Aparicio, we keep mentioning speed on this team, but these outside wingers and backs for these Dolphins have a lot of pace to them. And Elizabeth Aparicio was actually the hero of last year's CUNYAC championship game. She netted 2 goals. And then in our last game against Brooklyn, where the Dolphins won 4-0, she added 2 assists to her name for the season.
And for those who are interested, we have NFL trade news, as according to Adam Schefter, the Cowboys have traded a first-round draft pick for Amari Cooper. So that dashes my hopes as a Jet fan that we might add a playmaker for the offense. But Amari Cooper to the Dallas Cowboys in a move that should certainly help their offense after they dropped a game to Washington yesterday in a battle for first place in the NFC East. Here, a non-conference battle in the final regular season game at the CSI Soccer Complex, as Samantha Laval nearly got that shot off, and I saw a near handball as well in front as the Ravens were forced to get those hands out of the way.
You know, that's one thing you definitely do not want to do. Whether it's intentional or not, you definitely do not want to put your hand on the ball anywhere inside that box. Yeah, it's essentially giving the other team a free goal.
I think it was Colleen Hall who made a block of that initial shot attempt in front and then fell down in the middle of the box. We'll get another look at it here, as Pelinkovic was the one who made the pass to Laval, and it was indeed Hall who went down, getting in front of that ball before Laval could shoot it, and then nearly fell on top of it hands first. Good job to avoid that handball foul and what would have been a penalty kick resulting from it, as the two teams fight for possession around the midfield. It's Pelinkovic who gains possession in the midfield circle and swings it out to Aparicio along the far sideline. Ball up ahead towards Laval. Laval, one touch pushes it ahead, and good defensive play there by Darby O'Rourke to keep Laval from entering the box. Throw-in belongs to the Dolphins. We'll see how far they allow Aparicio to move up. It's not very far, as the Dolphins will have to work their way into the final third once again. And that ball toward Laval, off her head and knocked away at the top of the box by Buck. Here comes Di Stefano, who plays it back to Aparicio.
You know, not much work for Kayla Di Benedetto here in this first 10 minutes of this game. She has not touched the ball, seen any action. This defensive line for the Dolphins really keeping the Ravens in check.
Of course, I'm not a former goalkeeper myself, but I can't imagine it's easy to spend so much time standing and watching in so many games, as has been the case for Di Benedetto this year. She hasn't faced that many shots in the majority of our broadcasts here at home, and she may be potentially facing one right now, but that ball is too far ahead of the Ravens attacker. That is Madeline Polino, but Di Benedetto does get her first touch of the game.
Yeah, I definitely can't see that as being enjoyable, not just standing back there for 90 minutes, not even touching the ball. You know, as a goalie, it's good because you keep your goals against numbers down, but at the same time, just standing around and not getting into the action, watching all your teammates have fun, move the ball around, it's got to get a little lonely back there.
Well, in Dolphins victories, I'm taking a quick look down the schedule, but in CSI victories, I only see one game where they allowed, or make that two, where they allowed multiple goals against CCNY and against St. Joe's Brooklyn. And those games weren't close. One was 4-2 against CCNY. That easily the closest of their home games this year that we've covered, aside from the closest conference game anyway, the FDU Florham game, also a 2-1 game. But in many games this year, Di Benedetto just hasn't faced many shots. And even that CCNY game, that was the case. She only faced 2 shots, both of which were on goal. Both found the back of the net, and that accounted for the 2 Beaver goals.
You know, what could be attributed to that, Joe, is, you know, when you're back there for so many games, not putting in much action or anything, it kind of lulls you to sleep. And then when a chance comes your way, you could be a little lackadaisical, allowing the ball to go in the back of the net.
That's something we've certainly mentioned in earlier broadcasts. There are just some goals that have gone by Di Benedetto this season where she just didn't seem to expect a shot to be forthcoming. As that rolls toward the far sideline, Dolphins keep it in play. But the Ravens are the ones clearing it beyond midfield and over the far sideline once again for a CSI throw-in. I have the numbers on Di Benedetto this year in front of me. I'll pull those up quickly. On the season, she has appeared in 15 games. 14 of those starts, has allowed 29 goals for an average of 2 goals allowed per game. She saved 60 shots for a save percentage of about 67.5 so far in 2018. Two teams battle for it along the far sideline. Nice job by Laval to keep it in. Pelinkovic works it over to Smith, who moves into the midfield circle. Pass over to Bracic, and right back to Smith. Smith moving toward the top of the box. To her left, finds Perello breaking toward the touchline. Perello able to keep it in, just barely. And she is challenged by Buck, who knocks it over the near sideline for a Dolphins throw-in. Throw-in gets by Perello onto the foot of Smith, who works it back into the midfield circle for Mulligan. Aparicio up the far sideline toward the top of the box for Laval. Ball deflects away toward that far sideline and is cleared over the fence by the Ravens.
The Ravens have done a good job at containing Laval and keeping the speed on the wings of the Dolphins in check here today. The Dolphins really haven't had a quality shot on target yet. Haven't really tested Lindsay in net.
Here come the Ravens looking to move forward on the attack. We haven't seen much of them beyond midfield in this game. Working against DiStefano is Lightcap. And the ball is taken away by the Dolphins just beyond midfield. Here comes Perello. Up to Smith. Smith looking for Brocic. It's knocked away by Hauser, but Laval will come away with it just outside the box. Laval trying to move through the defense. It winds up on the foot of Brocic and knocked away at the last moment there by Kyleen Hall. A good defensive play there. A corner is conceded, but that may have very well prevented a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Samantha Laval looked like she was going to just take that ball right out of the air there, but decided to bring it down, give her a chance to pass it off to Nermina Brocic, but a little bit of a soft pass there, Joe, and unable to put it on target.
As is the norm, Adriana Perello to take the Dolphins' corner. We saw CSI score on a corner in their last match against Brooklyn, as that ball may have been knocked off the spot by the wind. So Perello will set up once again her corner toward the near post off of a Raven, and that is kept out of goal by Lindsay. And I'm almost certain that ball hit off of a Raven in front along that near post.
Absolutely, you know that's why you put a player at that front post there. It's to prevent those curling balls in near posts.
They certainly did just that, as that's taken toward the far post and headed away. And it will be another Dolphins corner. Trio of players getting up toward that ball, and it winds up going over the touchline off the head of a Raven.
You know, Adriana Perello really puts the ball in a scoring opportunity almost every time she takes these corner kicks. And the Dolphins have capitalized a few times this year, but you would like to see them put one here, especially after taking 3 in a row.
And that's a good point, as we rarely say that corner kick is taken to a spot that is not dangerous unless the wind forces such a bad corner, as that's taken a bit short and knocked away by the Ravens. That one not in a very dangerous spot, but the Dolphins are able to maintain possession. It's Brocic. Finds Lauren Smith, but it's taken away from Smith quickly. Brocic looking to gain possession back for CSI. She does, and finds Rebecca Deloya, who puts a shot on goal, but not a tough save there for Lindsay.
No, that was a numbers game. The Dolphins started to push everybody up there, and they were, you know, Rebecca Deloya did her best to try and curl it in. Did put enough spin on the ball to put it away from Lindsay and into the box and onto the foot of a Dolphin.
We just got a second look at how dangerous that first corner taken by Perello was, as it certainly was knocked away by a Raven along that near post, and then saved by Lindsay after contacting a Raven. Here come the Dolphins once again, as Smith looking for Laval, unable to find her, and it's cleared away by Colleen Hall. Dolphins will throw in along the far sideline. Once again, deep into the attacking third. We spent a lot of time covering action down on this end, as Laval looks to turn in toward the middle of the box. That one over the outstretched arms of Lindsay, but Brocic couldn't make contact with it. Dolphins came that close to their first goal of the game. They keep possession. Lauren Smith to Pelinkovic. She has space, and that space is closed quickly by Avery Bramell. Dolphins keep possession.
Yeah, that's the strength of the Dolphins' offense right there. Play the ball to Laval's feet and let her turn, and she did just that and put the ball just out of reach of Lindsay, but Nermina Brocic was unable to capitalize.
Good attempt there by Laval. Not sure if it was an initial shot attempt or if she was looking for Brocic. It looked like a shot from here. Versada Pelinkovic also had a near opportunity as well, but the space she had to shoot it from a spot that she likes to shoot from was closed quickly, as Lauren Smith fires a shot that's blocked. It rebounds over to Perello, who gave it up to Brocic and received it right back. Brocic lost one in front for Laval, and the flag goes up along the far sideline for offsides.
You know, the first offsides of the game, considering how long the Dolphins have spent in the Ravens' final third, it's not bad.
Looked like Laval tried to chip that ball over Emma Lindsay, it seems, but the wind may have knocked it towards Brocic, as the way that ball was played toward goal. Looked like a shot attempt, but free kick belongs to the Ravens, and it's headed back towards the Ravens' goal as Laval is moving forward with possession. She fires one toward the right post, and that's saved once again by Lindsay.
You know, a lot of action. Lindsay's getting called upon a lot in this first, 15 minutes or so, and she's done a quality job making sure nothing goes in the back of her net.
Here's another look at that nice move by Laval to create some space for herself, and a strong shot with her moving to her right, trying to tuck it inside that right post, but not enough room to do so as Lindsay was well positioned on that last shot. Dolphins really dominating possession once again. We've said that so many times over the course of this 2018 season as Aparicio looked to cross it in. The cross was blocked, and here comes Hall moving up the far sideline. Ball knocked away by the Dolphins. Quick throw-in taken. Two teams fighting for it along that far sideline. It's Aparicio coming away with it. Her pass attempt is blocked. Winds up on the foot of Pelinkovic. Ball played toward the box, and it rolls into the arms of Emma Lindsay once again.
You know, every time the Ravens look to, build an attack, start to string a few passes together, the Dolphins just absolutely swarm the ball and take it away from her, the player, and just don't even allow her to create anything after.
Shot tally right now is CSI 6. Rosemont nothing, and CSI maybe looking to add another shot here. Laval moves in, and that is under Emma Lindsay and into the back of the net for the first Dolphins goal of this game. And before we get underway, track coach Jason McFall was asking Samantha Laval to score a goal for him, and she does just that as she puts the Dolphins on the board and gives CSI a 1-0 lead. For Laval, that is goal number 15 on the season, leading this Dolphins team on the attack, and Laval really has been remarkable so far in the 2018 season. This is the final regular season game for the women. The men are on the road. They get underway at 4 p.m. at NJCU.
The CSI goal, her 15th of the season, scored by number 21, Samantha Laval, in the 18th minute.
And my broadcast partner, Tom Krichkowski, announcing that goal to the Dolphins faithful on hand, braving the cold weather. Weather which has improved since we arrived here at the CSI Soccer Complex around 1 o'clock. Sun is now out. No need for my sunglasses anymore, thankfully.
You know, when the sun's behind these clouds, it is a cold, cold day out here today. But when the sun does come out, decides to show up, you don't really need these scarves and jackets we're wearing. It's kind of a nice day out, but when that sun decides to go away, Joe, forget about it.
With the cold weather, we looked like something straight out of the Dolphin supporter section during the pregame, decked out in our CSI gear. Scarves given away at our last home game, or maybe even 2 home games ago. Whenever it was, we appreciated them earlier this afternoon as we are now 20 minutes into half number 1, and the Dolphins remain on the attack. Looks like it will be a free kick, or maybe a free kick for the Dolphins to be taken just inside that far sideline. Once again, Perello to take the free kick.
You know, and just like corner kicks, she treats these as scoring opportunities every time she stands over the ball. And I believe just about half, or if not a little bit more, of Perello's assists this season have come off set pieces.
And she will have another opportunity from the corner here, as that last free kick was taken toward goal. Not sure if Lindsay made contact with it between the pipes, but knocked it over the touchline nonetheless as DiStefano heads one on goal. Believe it contacted Laval in front as well. Ravens scrambling to clear it. Aparicio shot is blocked, and Rosemont able to knock that ball out of danger. And that was quite the sequence for the Dolphins. Had several opportunities in front, but do not score.
Well, little unfortunate turn of events there. Samantha Laval playing goalie instead of goal scorer in that time, you know. But, you know, it's unintentional. She's getting in the way, trying to score the goal.
I'm sure the Dolphins will forgive her. She scored quite a bit this year. As we get another look at it, it was off the head of DiStefano, and looks like it did contact Laval. If not Laval, then one of a trio of Ravens who were surrounding her in front. Not much room for DiStefano to put that header, looking to get on the scoreboard for the second straight game. But Dolphins maintain their 1-0 lead and have really been threatening for more quite some time, and easily could have more than just one goal in this game, as Smith looking for Ambrose. A good ball as Ambrose will chase it down in the corner. Being challenged by Brumell, gives it up to Aparicio. Pelinkovic now has it with a little bit of space, and that's all she needs to fire that one toward goal, but it is wide of the left post.
You know, these 3 center midfielders for the Dolphins all have a power shot, you know, between Lauren Smith, Mersada Pelinkovic, and Adriana Perello. if they get space, 25, 30 yards out, they're not afraid to pull the trigger. And you just saw that right there with Pelinkovic. Yeah, it went wide left, but if she puts more power behind that and puts out a target, Lindsay's going to have a tough time today.
Well, opposing teams certainly need to know, do not give Mirsada Pelinkovic much space in that range, as she will not hesitate to shoot it. And we've seen her score from there on more than one occasion, as Pelinkovic able to intercept that ball and keep possession on the side of CSI. But she'll go back and work it toward midfield, and the Dolphins will look to reset a bit as the pass attempt toward the far sideline for Ambrose intercepted, and I think a foul was called against the Dolphins along that far sideline.
Just the second foul of the game there, Joe. So it's been kind of a clean game. Both teams trying to score a goal. The season's coming to a close. Nobody wants to get injured before the end of the season. So you can kind of see that in play today.
Well, the foul called against Pelinkovic, and Mike and I have noted several times this year her penchant for physical play, certainly not shy about initiating some contact and picking up fouls, but has avoided, I believe, bookings for the most part. May have one yellow card on the season, if that, but has done a good job of utilizing physical defensive play and benefiting her team with that in the midfield, as the Ravens look to possess beyond midfield for, I believe, what would be the first time in this game, but unable to do so, as the Dolphins come away with it. And Lauren Smith, looking for Ambrose, sees that ball headed toward Lisbeth Aparicio, and Aparicio looks to pass it forward once again and quickly knocked back toward midfield by the Ravens for a second time.
Every team needs a good bruiser in the center of the pitch, and earlier this season was Natalia Sandor before she went down with an injury and hasn't seen much action. It's now been Pelinkovic taking her spot. Like you said, not afraid of contact. She'll win those tackles. She'll clean up the mess and get rid of it. And when she has the opportunity, she will take a shot. And Mirsada has done a great job today, winning the 50-50 balls and just giving it off to her attacking teammates.
Well, it looks like that last foul may have gone against Pelinkovic as well. Foul occurred right in the center of the midfield circle. We'll see if the Ravens can make anything of this free kick opportunity. Good ball toward the box, off the head of Catherine Mulligan, and fortunately so for the Dolphins, as if that ball got over her head, it may have been trouble, and it's cleared away over the far sideline.
Yeah, on that ball, Polino was making that run. If that ball had just had a little bit more power on it, that would have just made it over Mulligan's head, and Polino would have been one-on-one with Di Benedetto.
Good free kick there by Mazzeo from the midfield circle, as this one once again is over the top of the Dolphins, and a Raven goes down in the box. No foul called, fortunately for the Dolphins, as it is quickly cleared out toward midfield. An attempted pass for Bracic too long, so a throw-in for Rosemont, and a couple of very dangerous spots there for the Dolphins. And if Di Benedetto wasn't on her toes before that, she certainly should be right now.
Yeah,
So I get tongue-tied in the cold weather.
Frozen to the inside cheeks.
Here come the Dolphins once again. An awkward pickup there by Emma Lindsay, with Samantha Laval bearing down on her, but she does grab that ball just in time. As we do have, not a scoring update, but a reminder that the men begin their matchup with the Gothic Knights of NJCU, your former team.
My former team.
At 4 p.m. But your allegiance now lies with the blue and white.
It's the old paycheck versus alma mater showdown there, Joe. Let's hope for the Dolphins win here.
Good choice.
Yes.
As CSI loses it and gains it right back. In the midfield, here comes Perello. Perello looking for Smith, but she was being marked well. Not a lot of space to work with, but Smith does receive this pass from Deloya and gives it right back to Rebecca. Paulina Ambrose now working toward the middle of the field, looking for Laval, perhaps even Smith behind her. Good move there to get away from a pair of Dolphins by Lauren Lightcap, and the Ravens now working it toward the midfield circle and losing possession to the Dolphins once again.
It looks like the Ravens have changed their formation since the start of the game. It looked like they started the game, in a 4-4-2 formation. It seems they've dropped to either a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-1-1 with their center forward dropping back a little bit further, because they're starting to park the bus here. And you can see they have almost 10, 11 players behind the ball at all times.
Certainly have a much better eye for that than I do. That's not something I'd pick up on. So Dolphins will attempt another free kick, their second, as you just got a quick look at the foul tally, 2 aside. Pirello's free kick taken toward goal, off the crossbar. Here comes Samantha Laval. She knocks it towards goal. It's chipped up in the air by the Ravens, looking to clear it. And it looks like they will be able to do so as Amber Buck sends it over the far sideline and over the fence. Another very dangerous spot for the Ravens, looking to keep this a 1-goal game, and they are able to do so. Here's another look as Pirello takes yet another quality free kick. Her last free kick towards goal, maybe even on goal. This one off the crossbar. She won't be credited with a shot on goal, but certainly putting one on goal was her intent. And Samantha Laval, once again, right in the middle of things after that ball came down and unable to get a shot off. And fortunately for the Ravens, they're able to get that ball out of there.
You know, there's that power we talked about, Joe. She struck that ball well. Unfortunately for her, bounced right off the top of the crossbar. You know, maybe a little bit less power that would have bounced off the bottom of the crossbar and into the net because Lindsay, mistimed the jump, and it went right over her head.
We saw a very similar bounce to one off the crossbar and down in the Dolphins' last game. I believe it was Alexa Appel who attempted that shot, and she thought for sure she had herself a senior day goal earlier. Then she eventually did pick up one in that game, but wasn't meant to be early as Lauren Smith is taken down, no foul called, and looks like it might be another Dolphins corner as attempting to send the ball into the box. It's knocked over the touchline by the Ravens, and it will indeed be Dolphins corner kick number 4, maybe even 5 if the scoreboard's not updated. That is 5.
Talk about a twilight goal on senior day. Alexa Appel scoring in the 89th minute. Probably there was 10 seconds left in the game if I recall correctly. And what a day, what a time to capitalize and seal your senior day with a goal.
She was in the middle of the Dolphins attacking play throughout that game as that one is off the head of a Raven and off the outside frame of the goal. So yet another corner kick for the Dolphins, who have spent a lot of time down there. And once again, Pirello to take it.
That's a defender's nightmare right there, scoring an own goal. Lucky for her, the ball bounced off the top of the crossbar and out of play.
Corner short of the near post and headed over goal, and finally a goal kick for the Ravens. Haven't had too many of those. It seems every ball that travels over that touchline winds up being a Dolphins corner.
Funny story about own goals. Back in my college days when I was playing, when I was a freshman, our star senior right back went for a diving header to clear the ball and actually headed it into our own goal, upper 90. One of the nicest goals I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it was on our own net, but to this day, it was one of the nicest goals I've ever seen.
Well, those make for good viral video clips, not good for picking up victories, especially in close competitive games. You never want to see that.
Luckily, we went on to win that game, but still, that was a very nice goal.
Well, I'm sure it made it much easier to tease him about it once you guys won the game. Definitely not something that you'll want to bring up in a game that your team lost, especially if it's a one-goal game. Don't believe we've seen an own goal here this year.
We have not this season, luckily for us.
Not sure we saw one by either the Dolphins or an opponent last year either. Not something you see too often.
No, it's those rare deflection goals. You never really see either team try and put it in their own net. However, deflection off of one player changes the direction of the goal. You have your goalie diving to the right, deflects left, and it's just an unfortunate turn of events.
Well, if there's ever a game we'll see it now, this will be the one that we've mentioned it.
And we've brought up an own goal story. We've seen almost an own goal go off the crossbar here today. So today is a possible chance of an own goal.
That might be what it takes for an opponent to score on the Dolphins the way things have gone here at home this year, as Ravens looking for an opportunity and unable to come away with it as the Dolphins move forward with some speed on the attack. Lauren Smith slowed down just a bit, looking for Bracic, and that pass is knocked away and over the near sideline by Amber Buck. Throw in by Rebecca DeLoya over the head of Samantha Laval. It's headed up in the air by the Ravens. Lightcap finds Castro. Castro to Johnston on the outside, looking to turn. Defended well by Rebecca DeLoya, but can't find Bracic with that pass. It's taken away by the Ravens, and Two teams fighting for it. Knocked over the near sideline as we have a Ravens substitution.
For Rosemont. Number 5, Brittany Strauss. Places number 3, Destiny Castro.
It's Brittany Strauss for Destiny Castro. As I saw you going to that official starting lineup sheet, and I knew that I wouldn't find number 5 on my roster.
Yeah, unfortunately, on the website, Brittany Strauss is not listed, but on the official NCAA roster, she is. So, therefore, making it official that she can enter the game.
When a team of 12 dresses 14, you know some names are missing from your roster sheet.
We're definitely a little perplexed today when 14 showed up, like you said, when there's only 12.
Still, small roster nonetheless, as Mike has mentioned many times this year, the advantage of the Dolphins having a large, expansive roster of players that have found ways to contribute. It hasn't just been the starters, but many substitutes as well. As I believe the men have substituted much more than the women this year. It's usually been maybe 2 or 3 substitutes for the women, but still many contributors out there on the pitch for the College of Staten Island in 2018 as DeLoya works against Johnston. That ball toward the middle of the field and knocked away by the Ravens. Looking to gain possession in the midfield. Brianna DiStefano won't allow that as she looked to move forward with some speed. She's dispossessed, and now the Ravens moving forward on the attack. And Rebecca DeLoya, who was just looking to orchestrate for the Dolphins, sprinting all the way back and knocking that ball away.
She has a never-ending motor. She never gets tired.
Not the first time this week our broadcast has been interrupted by some horns. This time a charter bus behind us is bearing down there on Emma Lindsay was Alexa Appel. Looked like she may bump knees. Instead, may just be adjusting the socks, and she appears okay as the two players make contact right at the corner of the box. Results in a Dolphins throw-in as Polinkovic, working toward the middle of the field, gives it up to Lauren Smith. Smith's ball towards Appel. And being forced toward that far sideline is Darby O'Rourke. Ball knocked over the sideline by the Dolphins, so it will be a Ravens throw-in.
You know, back to those horns, Joe. The Vuvuzelas has made an appearance a few times here at the CSI Soccer Complex. Only going off when the Dolphins score a goal, in addition to our goal song we have here.
Do sound effects like that, created by the fans, does that get irritating, or you just tune it out as a player?
As a player, you just kind of tune it out, especially when you go into stadiums or fields that have a lot of fans on the side. You know, they have the programs in their hand. They see your number, they see your name. They start calling out your name and everything. They try and get in your head. But as a player, you just tune that out.
Any safe-for-work stories about a fan trying to get in your head during any of your games?
Oh, yeah. I remember playing against Willie P. It was a night game. They had a couple hundred fans there. And sure enough, second half, I was on that side of the field. And they found out my name. And first of all, my name isn't easy to pronounce as it begins with. And they started saying, did your mom drive you to the game? All these things, you know, just trying to get in my head, all these weird things. Sometimes they would just yell, just weird noises coming at me on the side of the field. And just, you got to learn to tune that out, especially in these big games where you have a lot of fans.
Without details, for the most part, did they obey the NCAA code of conduct?
Yeah. You know, there was no cursing involved at all. So it's just all fun games. You know, sometimes when you do hear something funny, you give a little giggle at them, you know. It's all in fun.
Well, you mentioned your last name being a bit difficult to pronounce, Krichkowski, but I think I've gotten it right every time so far.
Yeah, no.
Hey, we can make an appearance here on screen, but during one game this season, you were referred to as Tom Krasinski, and I did tell Mike that that was indeed the case, and he was adamant that he did not pronounce your name incorrectly. So
it's my alter ego, Tom Krasinski.
Go back to the tape. It is there. Shout out to Mike if he's able to tune in. First time we've been without him this year as the Dolphins move forward on the attack into the box. Brocic looking to dribble instead of shoot. I think the bench wanted a shot attempt as Appel's shot attempt is blocked. And Brocic able to come away with it.
You know, if there is one knock on Brocic, it is that she is a little shy, you know, to shoot the ball sometimes. She overthinks it too much. When you're in front of the goal right there on the side, just fire away. You know, even if it doesn't go in the back of the net, the goalie may parry it away back into the box, and your team will be able to just rifle it into the back of the net. You know, you never know what's going to happen, especially when it's cold out like this. You get a hard ball, the goalie may not be able to handle it, and she'll choose to knock it away instead of catch it.
Well, I think during our pregame setup, I did promise some sunlight by around 4 o'clock, and the sun has made an appearance here with 8 minutes to go in the first half, as I get some applause from the other end of the table, sarcastic applause from Sam Flecker, our statistician, as the Dolphins will attempt this corner kick. Once again, Perello takes it, short of the near post, headed away by the Ravens. Pelinkovic comes away with it with space, and her shot is saved. Not a strong shot, but a shot on goal nonetheless, as a foul is called and we'll head back the other way.
Mercado looked like she could have put that ball in the back of the net. However, her touch failed her a little bit. The ball seemed to get a little bit too far ahead of her, so she had to just toe poke it, just put it on target, like we just mentioned Brocic should do. Pelinkovic, reading the situation of the game and just toe poking it towards net. And sure enough, the ball bounced off of Lindsay, but no Dolphin in the area to put it in the back of the net.
And sometimes shots are worth taking just for a rebound opportunity, as that ball travels over the fence, and we'll have a Dolphins throw-in.
You know, sometimes these college players try and get a little pretty scoring the ball. They all count. They all count for the same. It doesn't matter how you score it. If you hit it with your back, hit it with your shin, as long as it goes in the back of the net, it's still a goal at the end of the day.
As we got a quick look at that last save by Lindsay, who's been stellar in goal so far for the Ravens. No big mistakes, as she's seen a lot of touches in this game, a lot of attacking play down at this end of the field to our left, and we've said it many times in the first half, whatever direction the Dolphins are attacking, most of the action tends to be on that side of the pitch, and then in the second half, of course, it switches.
You know, and you mentioned the sun. With the sun starting to come set now, it's right in the face of Lindsay. So the Dolphins should use these last 6 minutes to just pepper her in net. You know, the sun may block out a goal or two and put you up 2 to 3 headed into the half.
That's a good point, as I did see her shielding her eyes, and if we were broadcasting from the opposite sideline, the sun would be right in our face. Fortunately for us, the sun at our back.
Yeah, the sun in our face would not make for a good broadcast, as we'd be guessing who had the ball and who took the shots. So thankful to be on the west side.
Well,
yeah.
Dave Pizzuto, our engineer, isn't so lucky, as the sun reflects off of the screen. Definitely not an easy job engineering with the sun directly on the screen, as I've experienced once before. Here comes Brocic, and a good play from behind there by Hauser to knock that one away. And the flag is up for offside, so an inconsequential play, yet still a good one by Hauser. And instead we will have, looks like a free kick for the Dolphins right in the middle of the field.
And we know what Perello can do. You know, with this being in the center of the pitch, I'd say about 27 yards out, Perello is not going to shy away. She's not looking to put this ball over the top. She's looking to put this right on frame.
And that is wide of the right post. So putting it on goal there forces Lindsay to contend with the sunlight. Perello unable to do so, as the Dolphins will still have about 4 minutes and 40 seconds of sunlight in the face of Lindsay to use in their favor before the sunlight, or what's left of it, will be in the face of Kayla DiBenedetto to start the second half.
I feel like that's just going to be more of an annoyance to her, considering she hasn't faced a shot here in this first half.
That's a good point, Tom. She has not faced a shot. Dolphins have taken 13 shots in this first half. 1 goal to show for it. A lot of possession time around goal. And that's deflected over the touchline by Appel.
You know, for all the shots the Dolphins have taken, let's give some credit to Lindsay and net. She's battling, like we just said, this sun. She's doing a hell of a job in there, making sure to keep this game just 1-0.
As Samantha Laval looks to change that score, nearly finding the foot of Brocic was Laval, but once again a good defensive play by Hauser to prevent Brocic from shooting. And Brocic has been around goal quite a bit. I'm not sure she's attempted a shot yet. I'll have to check on that, but a good defensive play nonetheless by Hauser. As we do have some more NFL trade news. Nothing done yet, but Patrick Peterson requesting a trade earlier in the day and perhaps targeting the New Orleans Saints. So I feel like a good I should say I provided some good analysis perhaps, as I pegged the Saints as possibly a team that he'd be interested in, and your Carolina Panthers, a team that you were hopeful would be interested in Peterson as well.
Yeah, that means we'd have to go against them twice a year. I wouldn't be a fan of that. I'd prefer Patrick Peterson to be on our team. But, you know, for the Saints, that'd be good. You know, Drew Brees is in the twilight of his career. You pair him up with Marshawn Lattimore, and that forms a nice secondary for the Saints.
That's as good of a 1-2 corner combination as you'll see outside of Jacksonville. Also several other teams with a nice pair of corners, those two that come to mind. Some action to our right finally.
Yeah, the Ravens finally got the ball, but it was quickly swept away by the Dolphins defense.
And that quickly turns into counterattack for the Dolphins as that one rolls off the hands of Lindsey, who tried to corral it and could not, forced to lay out and keep that ball in front. No Dolphin there to shoot the rebound.
You know, Joe, with all these deflected balls, you think the Dolphins would begin to anticipate these deflections and be ready for them instead of just waiting for them to happen.
The only reason I could see why they weren't is that was a quickly developing attack and perhaps not enough time for more Dolphins to crash on goal, as the Ravens once again looking to cross midfield and cannot. But Perello isn't able to keep that ball in, and it will be a Rosemont throw-in. 1:42 to go in the first half. Time on your screen just about perfect.
Credit to Dave Pizzuto, the engineer.
On point. If you pay attention closely, you may catch him sneak into the frame during halftime, perhaps in the postgame. He's seated right over my left shoulder. Ravens cross midfield. Ball knocked away by Deloya. And a ball comes from the opposite end of the field. 1 minute to go in the first half. Ball knocked up in the air towards Laval, who heads it away toward the far sideline. Ball rolling towards Hall. Appel bearing down on her, and Hall gets rid of it. Aparicio now putting some pressure on, and Dolphins awarded the throw-in with 32 seconds to go in the half. Throw-in taken toward Lauren Smith. Laval gets a foot on it, and Smith fires on goal. She received that pass from Laval, and Smith did not hesitate. That was a strong shot saved by Emma Lindsey, and it looks like that will bring the first half to a close as Lindsey takes her time and punts it out toward midfield. Brianna DiStefano gets a head on it. Laval gets a head on it, and it's knocked away by the Ravens. Bracic won't have time to take a shot, and that will bring the first half to a close. Dolphins lead the Ravens by a score of 1-0, and as I've said so many times this year, another first half that is all CSI, though it still remains a one-goal game. And we will step aside until about 1 minute remaining on the clock before the start of the second half. Once again, our score at halftime, Dolphins 1, Ravens 0 here from the CSI Soccer Complex in our final regular season home match of the 2018 season.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. But I don't wanna get on. Very sad no more love. All that I could do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in! Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit SaveTheFood.com.
I remember, Dad, you and Mom got this car with a hatchback. I said, you know, I'd be happy to give you the money to get a really great car. And he said, well, no, this works for me. I says, why? Because it's the right height to put the meals in. Dad, tell me when you first got an inkling about Meals on Wheels.
There was kind of an abandoned house. That's where we got started with Meals on Wheels. We kind of filled a need for people as they got older.
It's the human interaction that probably fed them much more than the food.
Oh, yeah. When you can see somebody else benefiting by your life in some way, you can't help but feel good about it, I think.
Well, the reason I'm involved, Dad, is because you are, and you're so inspiring. How you've impacted people is enormous.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Your dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise?
Surprise! Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
The ceremony was a blast. It was just like the surreal moment of my dreams are coming true.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said, "Oh, I apologize. She won't be taking you in as a client."
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
And sitting there in that small, cold room, I wanted to cry, just thinking, what did we bring this kid into?
We're simply asking to treat our family the same way that you would treat any family.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
So we were walking to school. At the corner, we waited for the traffic light.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart,
want cheese pizza,
but
like at Luigi's.
sometimes her mind wanders.
They have this video game there, and Kate's got the high score. We should have a sleepover. Maybe I should pack my pajamas.
I remember saying, Laura? Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
When we finally got there,
she gave me a hug goodbye.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope
bad
I don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day
today.
at school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
And we're back from the CSI Soccer Complex at halftime. About 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go until the start of the second half. Dolphins lead the Ravens by a score of 1-0. And very quickly, we have some halftime stats for you. And what you saw out there on the pitch is indicated in the numbers. Dolphins out shooting the Ravens 15-0. 9 of those 15 Dolphin shots on goal. Of course, one of them finding the back of the net. CSI winning the battle in corners 7-0. 4 fouls committed by the Dolphins, 2 by the Ravens, and all 3 offsides calls in that first half going against the Dolphins. And Tom, did you see any opening for the Ravens in that first half to get something going on the attack, or something they can do in the second half to get going?
They had that one opportunity, that ball over the top, but Catherine Mulligan was able to knock that away. Keys to the second half for the Ravens to try and get more offense going. They got to really start stringing passes together. Move the ball around so you can't get swarmed by the Dolphins players, because the Ravens are holding on to the ball too much once they get hold of it, and they're not picking their head up and looking away. The way you get past these swarming type defenses is to move the ball, because now you have 2 or 3 players trying to chase after the same ball, and you're moving them out of position. That creates gaps, and then that creates passing lanes that the Ravens can exploit by passing a through ball and using Mazzeo up top to get through and possibly test DiBenedetto.
Well, for that to get working, they need to cross midfield with possession at least more than they did in that first half, because there wasn't much possession time taken to our right. The Dolphins dominating possession, as has been the case in so many games we've covered this year. And I said that before, CSI really dominating the scoreboard in large part because they dominate possession. As we get a look at some first half highlights, and that's Mirsada Pelinkovic firing one off the hands of Emma Lindsay. And the Dolphins' goal in that first half, to no surprise, off the foot of Samantha Laval. Laval scoring her 15th on the season, that goal unassisted, as you get another look at Laval here attempting to get a shot off and could not. A good defensive play to block that one by Colleen Hall. There's one of those Dolphins corners taken, and very threatening corner toward the near post, knocked away over the touchline by the Ravens here. Nermina Bracic perhaps had a shot opportunity moving in, instead chooses to retreat a bit, and instead it is Mirsada Pelinkovic looking for space to shoot, couldn't find it, and Pelinkovic has been looking to shoot from that spot, typically to the right of goal, and regardless of distance, she is looking to shoot when given the opportunity, and the Ravens haven't given her much space to their credit. And here we have a look at the goal as Laval moves forward toward the middle of the field and didn't get a whole lot behind that one, but had Lindsay moving to her right. Laval shoots across her body to her own right, and with Lindsay moving in the wrong direction, able to find the back of the net despite not getting all of that shot. And that flurry right there off of, I believe, a Dolphins corner once again. And the Dolphins spent a lot of time in front. We've seen many of these sequences where both teams are scrambling for possession in front. Dolphins looking for a shot, Ravens looking to clear. And fortunately for the Ravens, in all of those cases, CSI unable to score, as right here, it's Pelinkovic in front, didn't get all of it, didn't have a big window to shoot that ball. A lot of Ravens in front of her, but Tom, many opportunities for the Dolphins in that first half, and the Ravens are fortunate to be down only 1 goal.
Yep, and talking about Samantha Laval's goal, she started the season on fire, scoring 12 goals maybe, and now she's gone on kind of a scoring drought. Only scoring 1 against Lehman. She put 1 in the back of the net today, but the Ravens have done a great job at keeping this game 1-0. This game could potentially have gotten out of hand, been 5-6-0 already, but Lindsay and that defensive line of the Ravens have done an outstanding job at making it just 1-0.
Well, we will break one final time before the start of the second half, but I do want to leave you with this. We've spoken a lot about the NFL during the first half, some trade rumors, and a question came up during our brief break before we came back on the air. 3 NFL quarterbacks have defeated all 32 teams: Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, and now Drew Brees with his victory Sunday over the Ravens. Tom Brady has defeated 31 teams. Don't overthink it. What team hasn't Tom Brady defeated? And I probably just gave it away, but when we come back, we'll have the answer for you. If you know it, put it in the live chat on YouTube so that we know we have someone out there listening. And thank you for joining us for our brief halftime break here at the CSI Soccer Complex. We'll be back with the second half when we return.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi. You mean you were driving? Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just gotta try a little harder.
As hard as I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
And we're back from the CSI Soccer Complex. Second half about to get underway between the College of Staten Island and Rosemont College. CSI leads 1-0, as we mentioned before. First half, all CSI, they lead in shots 15-0, 7-0 in corner kicks. And Tom, CSI continues to roll and looks like they'll carry a lot of positive momentum and stellar play into the CUNYAC tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially heading into the CUNYAC tournament undefeated, that gives yourself confidence alone. And seeing a team once and after all the film, you know each team's tendencies, what they like to do, what they're not good at, what they are good at. And, you know, it's that confidence is the thing in sports. You know, when you go in feeling good, looking good, you play better, and I think the Dolphins will carry this momentum throughout the entire tournament.
Well, it hasn't only been the attacking play throughout this season that's been stellar. We mentioned the defense briefly during the pregame and how the Dolphins haven't allowed multiple goals in games very often. And when they have allowed multiple goals, typically those games haven't gone too well. They've only allowed multiple goals in 2 victories, as I mentioned. And then in the rest of the games where they allowed multiple goals, they were defeated in those. And that included 2 games in the beginning of the year where the Dolphins allowed 5 goals to Kane and then 4 goals to Stockton. They've also allowed 5 in a game to William Patterson and Montclair. Some tough opponents along the way for the College of Staten Island, but here today handling non-conference opponent Rosemont well through the first half, though only one goal is up on the scoreboard. So the Dolphins are one miscue away, and the Ravens are one stellar attacking play away from getting back even in this one, and the Dolphins need to be well aware of that.
Yeah, the Ravens are playing real Italian-style soccer right now. Park that bus. Do not let the opposing team score. We may only score 1 or 2, but we're going to try our best to not let you score multiple goals on us. And so far they've succeeded with the amount of attempts and attacks that the Dolphins have had. You know, it's looking good. The Ravens should come into the second half feeling good that they've accomplished their goal. You know, holding Laval to just 1 goal and only allowing 1 goal after the plethora of shots the Dolphins have unleashed.
Well, if you were here during our comeback during halftime, we did ask which team Tom Brady hasn't beaten in the NFL. Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning have defeated all 32 teams, and I felt quite foolish when I didn't know this one. I scrambled through all 32 teams quickly, figuring Tom must have beaten every team in the AFC. He's been in the AFC his entire career, so I went through the NFC, not realizing that, and I should know this of all people, Tom Brady plays for the New England Patriots and has his entire career and has not beaten them. So Dave got it right away. He knew it and couldn't believe that we didn't. As you get the thumbs up from Dave over my shoulder, but Tom and I did not get that one, felt quite foolish about it, but Tom Brady hasn't beaten the Patriots in his illustrious career, so that is the answer to our halftime trivia question. Maybe that will become a thing from now on. We'll see. As the second half is underway from the College of Staten Island, Dolphins leading the Ravens 1-0, and it'll be interesting to see if the Ravens made any adjustments during halftime, and very quickly a Ravens player is down. That's Colleen Hall. Referee about to blow the whistle as Hall tries to get to her feet. Ball traveled over the near sideline, so the referee hasn't called for a stoppage yet.
You know, you mentioned the change here, Joe. For the Dolphins, Nermina Bracic and Pauline Ambrose have switched sides. So Nermina Bracic in the first half was on the left flank. She's now playing the right flank. And that's, you know, just a tactical change. Give a little speed change. You show the defender a little something different that they didn't see in the first half.
Dolphins with a strong attacking play in that first half, resulting in the 1 goal by Samantha Laval, and put a lot of pressure on outside of that, and will look to exert some more pressure on the attack here as Bracic moves in toward the box from that right flank, and a good ball towards Laval, but headed away nicely by the Ravens. I think that was Buck who knocked it toward the corner. I'm not sure if it went over the touchline or over the near sideline. Looks like it will be a corner to be taken by Adriana Perello.
You know, we mentioned that flank swap here in the second half, and immediately almost paying dividends there, Joe. Playing that Lauren Smith playing that beautiful through ball through the seam right to Nermina Bracic, who played in a gorgeous ball into the center of the box, but unable to clear the first defender.
Good corner kick there, taken by Perello, right in the center of goal, and nearly getting ahead on it was Samantha Laval. As men's soccer is underway, and they've gotten on the scoreboard early. A 3rd-minute goal for the College of Staten Island against NJCU. Dolphins lead 1-0. Pull some live stats up from that game as well so I can follow it on my iPad as we go here. At least get both games, the men and the women, in front of me. No way. It is an own goal scored by NJCU, and Tom, we said it. If there was ever a day an own goal would be scored, it would be today. Little did we know it wouldn't be in our game.
Exactly. You know, what are the chances? We talk about own goals, how rare they are, how we haven't had one for a few years. It almost happens here today. And then, sure enough, on the road, NJCU scores an own goal. You know, what a crazy day.
Talk about speaking it into existence, as it seems that may be the case. We put the hex on NJCU there. Fortunately, not scored on our own goal as Dolphins supporters. As here at the CSI Soccer Complex, we also have a 1-goal game. Dolphins leading here 1-0 as well. And De Benedetto gets an early second half touch and gives it right back up to Catherine Mulligan. Mulligan up to Bracic. Quickly turns and finds Lauren Smith, who took a shot. And she will go down. And this ball up ahead to Bracic. Over to Laval, and Laval didn't get all of it. Looked to redirect it, and now Laval has taken down Emma Lindsay as well. A pair of players down. Lauren Smith of the Dolphins and Emma Lindsay, the goalkeeper for the Ravens. And we're waiting to see if we get a stoppage, and we finally will. Not sure the official was aware that Lindsay was down.
Definitely not. He was worried about Lauren Smith. It seemed that Lauren Smith just had the air knocked out of her, and that is not a good feeling, getting the air knocked out of you, not being able to breathe, just laying there gasping for air. But, you know, eventually comes back and you're back to normal. But for that 30 seconds, it's not a fun time.
It's fortunately been a long time since I competed hard enough that happened to me, but I do remember the bad feeling as getting that men's game up on my iPad quickly while we have a break in the action.
And an update on that own goal. It actually came off of a throw-in.
Thrown into the net?
The Dolphins must have thrown the ball in, and a clearance by the NJCU Gothic Knights headed into their own goal. So here we are. We talk about how own goals are they rare. I give you a story about a defender heading a glorious goal into the back of the net when I played there, and here it is, a header into their own goal again.
Well, I'm interested to see if the statistician from NJCU gave it an adequate description. An Almeida header, own goal. Not very descriptive, but it gets the job done. This ball rolls towards De Benedetto, and she'll send it up the far sideline for DeLoya. That happens once in a while as the graphics on my iPad reflect NJCU taking on themselves. And here comes Nermina Bracic. Bracic moving in, fires, and that's off the corner where the post meets the crossbar.
And you could definitely tell that Brittany Caceres gave Nermina Bracic a little pep talk during halftime. We mentioned her being a little shy shooting the ball in the first half. Well, she's already put it in a glorious ball into the center of the box, and now she just rifled one from 22 yards out that hit off, almost found its way into the upper 90 corner.
Well, that's twice now in the second half that Bracic has gotten free off of good through balls. We're a good distance away. And she's been set up nicely for a pair of opportunities, and that's knocked away by Hall onto the chest of Mulligan, who looks to play it forward. Ball knocked down, but Dolphins come away with it as Perello chips it up in the air towards Ambrose. Ambrose moving slowly along the far sideline, and moving in towards her was Hauser, but she gives it up to DeLoya, and it's taken away by the Ravens before the Dolphins regain possession again. Good move by DiStefano to avoid the challenge, forced to give it up to Mulligan, and this one played all the way back to De Benedetto, getting involved for the second time in half number 2. Here comes Aparicio. Now it's Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic looking for Bracic once again. Bracic trying to use that speed to get to that ball first. Still a fight for it going on down around the corner. And I believe it's a Dolphins throw-in deep in the attacking third. Oh, make that a Ravens throw-in? Yep, it's a Ravens throw-in.
Dolphins here in the second half have definitely pinpointed that mismatch with Bracic against Hall in that back line over there. And we've already seen 2 to 3 scoring chances from that side.
Well, we saw Hall go down earlier in the half. You have to wonder if that's affecting her play in the back as well, as we've seen Bracic take advantage with her speed. Ravens now working the ball towards midfield. Will look to cross midfield with possession and cannot. Lauren Smith looking for Bracic. Bracic got behind Hall but does not get by O'Rourke. And once again, that ball rolls deep into the corner, and it will be a Ravens throw-in. About 7 minutes gone by in half number 2. Ravens still looking for their first shot of this game. Dolphins lead in that department 16-0. Still only a 1-goal game. Spoke about it during halftime. Ravens, one big player, one Dolphins miscue away from getting even, but you mentioned how they've parked the bus. And it's tough to get 2 goals against this Dolphins team regardless of how you've aligned your players out there on the pitch, but even tougher when you've chosen a defensive alignment like that, as Pelinkovic and Laval both trying to work toward the middle of the box and unable to do so.
And once again, formation change here for the Ravens. They've opted to put 2 strikers back up top as opposed to bringing one back. They've got 2 up top now, which may open some things up for the Dolphins in the middle of the pitch instead of, having everything bottleneck and just create a traffic jam, as you would say. But let's see if the Dolphins can capitalize in the center of the pitch here with the open space now.
Here come the Ravens. Pass across midfield and onto the foot of Castro off the redirection. Now it's Polino. Ball knocked up in the air. Off the head of Deloya towards Lawrence Smith, and Smith knocks it towards us along the near sideline. Bracic tries to keep it in and can't. It will be a Ravens throw-in. Hall will throw it in for Rosemont. She throws it towards Castro. Dolphins there waiting for it, but Ravens will possess the ball in the final third for the first time in this game, and Dolphins quickly taking it away, but the Ravens get it right back. It's Johnston, and a foul was called. Looked like the Ravens had an advantage working there. I thought that ball was headed towards Polino. And
I agree with you there, Joe. The referee should have let that one play out. It could have been a one-on-one with DiBenedetto there had he let that play go on.
That's a tough whistle. Fortunately for me, I've only had that go against me in video games, so I don't know the frustration of a real-life early whistle. As that's taken toward goal and saved by DiBenedetto, who needed to fully extend and dive out to her right. The Ravens looking to keep the pressure on. Sliding in there and trying to get a foot on it was Lightcap, and that one is sent wide of the right post and over the fence.
That was a great save there by DiBenedetto. Having not faced a shot all game, to be called upon to face a sinker free kick right there, she came up big. Had she let that one bounce off the turf, that would have almost surely been a goal. But she met it while it hit the turf, parried it to the right. We're out of danger. Great save there by DiBenedetto.
On that Mazzeo free kick, and Bracic is pushed down from behind. Both players go down, Bracic and Bromell, but on that free kick taken by Mazzeo, I lost my train of thought. Oh, DiBenedetto initially broke the wrong way. She broke to her left, and then when the ball was in flight, had to adjust and dive to her right. And a good late adjustment by DiBenedetto. She'll get another look at it here. You'll see DiBenedetto initially moves left and then forced to jump to her right, and that bad break nearly cost her, but a good recovery by DiBenedetto in goal as the Dolphins look to add a goal of their own. Here comes Samantha Laval looking for Lauren Smith. Pass intercepted. Laval still fighting for it. Ravens need to get it out, and they can, as Pelinkovic was there waiting for it, but it rolled off her foot. And Perello able to take it away from Mazzeo. She's met by Bromell. Chipped up in the air towards Aparicio and Hall. It's Hall getting a leg on it, but Pelinkovic gains possession for the Dolphins. Here comes Perello. Perello towards Laval, and that one just behind Laval, who had a bit of open space there to work with. DiStefano working to get possession, cannot. It's cleared away by Lightcap, giving chase as Mulligan deep into the corner.
We've seen the ball on the Dolphins side more in the second half than we did in the first. You could attribute that to the position, the formation change there. The Ravens are sacrificing defense to opting to create more offense.
Well, I got my first touch of the game there underneath the table.
It was a quality touch there, Joe.
Got a foot on it, kept it from rolling underneath. I'll take it. Aparicio to throw in. Smith knocks it down. Finds DiStefano. DiStefano working against a pair of challengers, gives it up to Aparicio. Hall cuts off that ball towards Bracic, but Pelinkovic takes it away from Hall. Pelinkovic looking for Bracic, but instead finds the foot of Darby O'Rourke. Mazzeo in the midfield sees her pass intercepted nicely by Deloya. Deloya up to Ambrose. Ambrose avoids the challenge and gives it back to Deloya. Deloya moving in toward the middle of the field. Smith fires, and that's wide, but Bracic giving chase. That ball had some spin on it. Bracic sends it in front. Knocked down by Buck and sent over the touchline by the Ravens for another Dolphins corner.
As Lauren Smith getting into the game now. She received that ball and was able to just turn around. Saw she had room, just uncorked it. Luckily for the Ravens, there was a defender there to block that away. Otherwise, that had the potential to find its way into the back of the net.
We've seen a lot of play right in front of the Ravens' goal throughout this game. Both ends of the pitch. Here's Pirello's corner. This is a long one. Only Dolphin there, I believe, is Ambrose. Ball still up in the air. Team's fighting for it, and it's cleared away by Buck.
That was a golden opportunity there for Elizabeth Aparicio to make a top 10 goal there. That ball was at the optimal height for a bicycle kick attempt there for her.
We don't see those attempted too often.
Opted to just head it down to DiStefano, but to no avail.
Well, we saw, actually, Aparicio head one over to DiStefano in the Dolphins' last game. Off a Pirello corner, a very similar set piece right there as what we saw in that last Dolphins game against the Bulldogs.
One of those rare double assists of bang-bang play. You know, Pirello had sent it across the box right off of Lisbeth's head and right off of DiStefano into the back of the net. You don't see those very often. This isn't hockey out here, Joe.
Yeah, Pirello picked up the hockey assist on that corner. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a real-life athlete anymore, but back in my day as an NHL player on Xbox, I picked up many secondary assists. Like to refer to myself as the dishmaster, but that was from commentary. I always said it with a smile, much like you just saw.
That's back in the day, Joe, as if we're both 62 years old here doing this broadcast.
It was longer than that, Dave. Avid gamer in high school, but not so much these days, unfortunately, as now gaming has become a professional esport. You can win a lot of money in video games these days. The Knicks E-League, our esports team, actually won the 2K League championship. Came with, I believe, a $50,000 prize per player.
It's a whole new market out there, and you see one of the primetime networks picking it up and even playing it on their ESPN 8 The Ocho network.
Well, I know League of Legends now, big-time sponsored esport. I've never gotten into any of those computer games, but I have a lot of friends who are into it, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are as well. Know far more about it than I do.
It's big-time sponsorship money into those teams.
Yep, unfortunately, I may never know that kind of money from an esports sponsorship, as much as I like to think that we were good enough at 2K to achieve that. We probably aren't. Come the Dolphins on the attack. And once again, it's Bracic with some space. Bracic working toward the box, plays it in front towards Laval, and breaking it up at the last moment was Buck, as that seemed destined for Samantha Laval's foot in front. Here comes Mazzeo moving toward midfield with some speed. Her pass blocked by DiStefano and winds up with Pelinkovic.
You know, we were mentioning esports. It'd be wrong of us not to mention our upstart esports team here at the College of Staten Island, headed by Sal Caruso and Alberto Sanchez. You know, working to get a team together to further advance the school's sports.
Well, thanks to Joe Masha on camera for the assist. Assistant intramurals coordinator, assistant to Sal Caruso, both good friends of mine. As the Dolphins fight for possession in front, that one sent off of Bracic, and Hall will wait for it to travel over the touchline, and it will be a rare Ravens goal kick. A goal kick.
Yes, this is a goal kick, not a free kick here. Free kick happens on the pitch for those who have listened to us throughout the season. A goal kick happens when the ball goes out of the end line and is inside the box getting kicked out.
We apologize for any confusion throughout the season. We've addressed it.
To no avail.
To no avail. This one rolls towards De Benedetto, and she'll have to wait for it, as obviously can't touch it outside the box and has enough time to scoop it up and roll it to Aparicio. Now it's Mulligan over to Aparicio, and well, that's a touch for our camera.
That's some pretty good touch there. It rolled right to a Ravens player.
I was hoping for number 2 for me on the game. Didn't get it, as that throw-in travels over Mulligan. Two teams fighting for it along the near sideline. Ravens coming away with it. Mazzeo challenged by a pair of Dolphins. And that ball played up ahead towards Bromell, but a bit too long, and that may have been the best Ravens' chance since that free kick to get something going, because they really haven't been able to string many passes together consecutively in this one. Dolphins have been all over it.
Our next broadcast would be women's volleyball versus Baruch College on Tuesday, October 23rd. Coverage begins at 6:45 in the final CUNYAC match of the season.
And that would be tomorrow night from the CSI Sports and Rec Center, the Tank, as it has been called the past 2 seasons. And that is senior day, right?
That is senior day, and that match will also determine the playoff, has playoff implications on it. Should the Dolphins win, they can finish in 3rd place. If they lose in straight sets or 3-1, they can finish 3, 4, or 5.
So the Dolphins may be hosting a CUNYAC playoff game.
Correct.
And very well could be hosting against a team they've beaten this season. So,
head coach Larry Yang has done well with this team this season. Bringing them, having competition with other CUNYAC schools now, and making a reappearance back in the CUNYAC tournament.
As Ambrose fires, Hall knocks it away in front. A second shot taken from outside that left post off of the right post. Dolphins still looking to fire, and that's off the foot of Brocic. Is she onside?
I believe that is a goal.
I didn't see a signal yet.
I think he pointed to the center circle. He did.
And that is a Dolphins goal for Nermina Brocic. And impossible to follow all of the Dolphins that ball contacted, but it is Brocic who finishes inside that right post. The initial shot was taken from outside on the left. I think that's Lauren Smith. So hard to tell, as the secondary shot attempt, I think again was taken by Smith, and then Brocic got a foot on it. Tough to tell.
That is a very tough. There's definitely an assist somewhere in there, Joe.
Well, the same player took the shot both times, from the outside on the left and then from inside that left post more towards the center of goal. And Tom will go check on that for us. To me, it looked like Smith's initial shot off the post, as we'll get another look. And the sunlight makes it impossible. It was either Ambrose or Smith. It was one of those 2 players on the left side of goal who took the initial shot. But the Dolphins open up a 2-goal lead. As we'll have a Ravens throw-in, and Ravens quickly move down into the attacking third. All right, so I was wrong. It's DeLoya who gets the assist, and just so hard to tell with that small section of field in the sunlight.
With all that in there, thankfully Nermina Brocic was walking right past us as I asked that question, and she was able to give some clarification on who casted that ball. The assist going to Rebecca DeLoya.
So Brocic assisted by DeLoya about 20 minutes into the second half. And the Ravens throw-in, headed up in the air toward the box. Ball rolling away as wind picks up a bit. Wind hasn't really been a factor in this one, as that's perhaps the second shot on goal of the game. Not a lot behind it. It is. Here comes DeLoya up the far sideline.
The CSI goal scored by number 8, Nermina Brocic, assisted by Rebecca DeLoya.
And a foul called against the Dolphins just beyond midfield. Going down was Hauser. And it will be a free kick for Rosemont.
That sun is starting to go down here, Joe.
The sun has set,
picking
Tom.
up. It is getting brutal out here.
The sun has indeed set over the CSI soccer complex, barely providing any light over the trees, and temperature will drop quickly as Johnston nearly got a shot off in front. A bit frustrated, but she was surrounded by Dolphins as De Benedetto rolls it up to Aparicio, who is immediately met by Brumell. Brumell sends it over the near sideline for a Dolphins throw-in. Throw-in up to Hall of the Ravens, who got a head on it, and Rosemont comes away with it. Mazzeo working through the midfield. Her pass intercepted by DiStefano. DiStefano rolls it up to Ambrose, and Ambrose gives it up to Pelinkovic. Ambrose now making a run after that Pelinkovic pass. And Buck clears it away.
The Ravens have really started to threaten here. They've been stringing passes together, finding the open space, and finding their teammates once they find that open space. And it's resulted in 3 shots on goal in the second half.
DiStefano intercepts in the midfield once again. Ambrose has it along the far sideline, looking for somewhere to go with it. Slips the ball over to DeLoya. And a foul is called against the Dolphins once again.
A little trickery there by Ambrose over there in that left corner. A little behind the back heel pass. Fortunately, I think that was offside. It's not a foul there, Joe.
Offsides it is. Here comes Samantha Laval as we try to get some clarity from the other end of the table. That's not safe for work. Dolphins to throw in. And the throw in over Paulina Ambrose, and Ambrose working against, I believe that's Johnston along the far sideline, and I think it's a foul call this time.
This time it's definitely a foul called. Nope. Yes.
Free kick for the Ravens. Just under 21 minutes to go in the second half. Our clock not quite as accurate as it was back in the first half.
You know, that's on Dave Pizzuto again. He was accurate this first half. A little slow on the clicking over there.
We're just having too much fun with this one, as it will be a Ravens throw-in. Moving toward the final third, perhaps an opportunity upcoming for them, and there is no Raven near that throw-in.
You know, we are joking with our engineer Dave Pizzuto over there, dressed up with the scarf around his neck, looking like he's ready to go skiing on the Swiss Alps.
I'm not sure he's dressed warmly enough for that.
You know, just add an extra layer and he's ready to go. He's ready to hit them slopes.
Get a nice puffer jacket over that, and maybe even a face mask. Here come the Dolphins. Laval.
Oh, what an absolute great ball down to Ambrose. It was a great 1-2 pass there by Laval and Ambrose there. Finding the opening.
We're having our fun over here. The Dolphins having their fun out there, really having their way right now on the attack. As we've seen some increasingly flashy plays by CSI on the attack. And all that's missing is that bicycle kick that you called for earlier.
Listen, it was set up perfectly for her. That may not be in her repertoire of skill set, but you know what? It was there. She'll go look back at tape later after this game and realize she had a golden opportunity for a bicycle kick.
Ravens have it in the midfield. Dolphins have had a tough time dispossessing Messiana Mazzeo, when she's been dribbling. Made some good moves through this Dolphins defense. Unfortunately, none have resulted in shot opportunities, as giving chase is Polino. And I think that one was off Bramell. And it was. As we'll have a pair of substitutions entering the game. We'll see if they're on my roster. Will be Tegan Dawson and Destiny Castro entering the game. Well, I just realized this, Tom, I have Colleen Howe on one roster, Colleen Hall on the other. So I think the official roster is Howe, so I think an apology is in order for an entire game of mispronunciation.
You know, both of these rosters came from Rosemont, and Hall's name is spelled incorrectly from their source. So
we pride ourselves on pronunciation and trying to get it right. Tom and I.
Yes. We try and give you the correct pronunciations throughout the entire game here. So far today, I think we've done a pretty good job.
We're trying, but these dueling pronunciations on each side of me here in front of me, not helping things as the Dolphins win possession off the throw-in. Good ball up ahead towards Brocic and Laval. Laval will possess it first, moving toward the middle of the field. Laval finds Lauren Smith. Her shot partially blocked, and that's wide. Picked up by Lindsay.
Lauren, unfortunately, unable to get her whole foot wrapped around that, because if she was able to connect with that one, she would have been able to place that right into the top 90 corner. She was set up perfectly for her, but just unable to get her full foot on that.
Time beginning to run out on the Ravens with 17 minutes to go in the second half. It's Aparicio over to Perello, who's met by a pair of Ravens. And it winds up back with Aparicio, who's moving forward with some speed against Bermel. Ball gets knocked up in the air. It's Brocic coming down with it. And it will be a Dolphins throw-in. It will be Alexa Appel entering for Paulina Ambrose with about 16.5 to go. Throw in by Aparicio towards Brocic. Winds up right back with Aparicio. Now it's Laval turning and looking to move in. But the Ravens are all over that as Lightcap takes it away. Laval looking to get it back towards Appel, and Appel's shot is saved by Lindsay. That may have been another one off the post if it got by, but Lindsay, of course, not taking that chance, and it's yet another Dolphins corner.
No, Lindsay did a good job there. If you're ever unsure if that's going to be on target, you always want to make the attempt to push that away. Kind of looked like one of your shots in the pregame here, Joe.
You certainly don't want to see any shots that looked like that. It was not a pretty sight, especially if you're a fan of the game of soccer or a player, former player like yourself. You don't want to see someone putting forth the kind of shots I did. Definitely not good. As Perello's corner, a good one toward the center of the box, knocked away but winds up on the foot of Pelinkovic, and that looked more like one of my shots, well wide to the left.
No, it was a good attempt there by Mirsada Pelinkovic, but unable to lock her ankle and strike the ball with her laces.
Yeah, you tried to show me how to get it done, but I don't think my foot operates that way. As that shot by, it was Appel, saved by Lindsay. A quick look at that attempt once again. That was the 13th Dolphins shot on goal.
You know, Perello continues to use her rose gold cleats to put gorgeous corner kicks into the center of the box, but Dolphins really need to capitalize on one of those because she has not faltered on one of those corner kicks yet.
I think those cleats are rose gold.
Maybe salmon, maybe?
Yeah, I'm thinking pink. Rose gold. Can't get a good view of it on the camera yet, but they definitely stand out among a lot of gray cleats. And that's Lauren Smith hobbled, and it's the second time she's taken a bump in this game. It's Mulligan with possession. Perello now has it.
We're going to go with salmon-colored cleats.
Yeah, salmon definitely fair. As that ball finds its way back to Mulligan. Mulligan up to Laval and cleared away again by the Ravens, but that won't help them much as they need to string together some passes and get out on the attack. Dolphins simply not allowing them to cross midfield at all. It's been better in the second half for Rosemont, but not enough of an improvement to get on the scoreboard. Sending it upfield was Hauser, and waiting for it, a trio of Dolphins. Pelinkovic comes away with it. Ball up towards Appel, right on target. Alexa moved towards the inside, but is met by Buck. Pelinkovic comes down to try and help out, but not before the ball travels over the far sideline for a Ravens throw-in.
You know, the Dolphins have started to get a little sloppy here with their passes. Their passes are starting to go to the Ravens' feet instead of their own team's feet, which is turning the ball over and giving the Ravens an opportunity to push the ball onto the Dolphins' side.
Mulligan up to Brocic. Looked like she tried to redirect it to Aparicio, but Ravens get a piece of it. Now the ball finds Aparicio. Quick pass to Lauren Smith and right back to Aparicio. Good passing by the Dolphins. Aparicio has some space. She'll move in and cross it in front. And I think Laval, got a head on it and then redirected it down onto her foot and scores the third Dolphins goal here in the second half. CSI now leads 3-0.
You know, Laval's been threatening all game. She got that one in the first, and in the second half, she continued 4 shots, or give the ball to her teammate. This time she said, "This one's mine."
Well, Laval has been right in the middle of everything the Dolphins have done on the attack in this game, and maybe Laval didn't get ahead on it initially as a pair of Ravens collided outside of that post, that near post, including the goalkeeper, Emma Lindsay, and one of her defenders in the back. Didn't catch who that was, but the defender on this side of the field is wearing number 20. That's Tegan Dawson. Not sure if she was the one involved in that play. I think it was Dawson. But nonetheless, it is Laval scoring the third Dolphins goal of this game. That's Laval's second of the game and her 16th of the season.
All right, I'm back here, Joe, after making the quick goal announcement here, letting all 2,000 of our fans know who the goal was scored by.
2,000 is a bit conservative. I think it might be 3, Tom, as that one's up ahead to Brocic, and offsides is the call.
Well, you know, the 2,000, the traffic jam that's currently going around campus, people in classes right now, the nearby buildings, it's got to equal 2,000. And, you know, they're all tuning in or standing and watching from their dorm rooms to stay warm.
If they're not here, they're staying warm and following us on CSI Sportsnet until the very end. 11 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the second half. This may or may not be the last you hear from us this year if we're fortunate enough to cover the CUNY Championship Final. Not sure who will have the call. Will be involved in some capacity, whether it be on camera or through Wirecast, as Brocic is charging in, and she'll score the 4th Dolphins goal. A long ball up to Brocic, and Nermina Brocic gets on the scoreboard shortly after Samantha Laval scores the 3rd Dolphins goal. Brocic has the 4th.
You know, and we mentioned earlier that swap on the flanks, creating a mismatch, and Brocic finally capitalizing on her opportunity.
So it is Brocic with the Dolphins goal, 10:30 to go in the second half. Here's another look at it. Let's see who's credited with the assist. Ball in the foot of Pelinkovic right there, and it will be Mersada Pelinkovic picking up the assist, as Brocic does a good job to knock that ball down. And I think Lindsay was trying to play the right foot of Brocic, and when Brocic put that shot to Lindsay's right, she was simply not in good enough position to make the save, and of course a very difficult save with any attacker bearing down on you one-on-one. Defensively, the Ravens just didn't get there in time. Brocic was marked, but that one step she had was enough to give her space for that shot. 4 Dolphins goals in this game belong to Nermina Brocic and Samantha Laval.
Brace for each of them. It's a pretty good day.
Certainly a far better day than I had in pregame shoot-around. As the Dolphins look to move forward on the attack once again. This ball from Lauren Smith up towards Alexa Appel, but getting there first was Jamie Hauser. Brocic sees that ball knocked away by the Ravens, and we have a whistle in the midfield. Didn't see a foul, so I think it had to be a handball perhaps.
You know, it's got to be creeping into Brocic and Laval's head. They both have a brace on the game. They're going to want that hat trick.
Well, they have 8 minutes and 50 seconds to pick it up, as that long ball is into open space, but not enough room there for Polino in front. And quickly rolling it ahead is De Benedetto for Deloya. And even with 8.5 minutes to go, Deloya still moving up the field with great speed. Just about every time she touches it, she's looking to move full speed ahead. And she takes it into the attacking third. Finds Lauren Smith. Smith redirects it towards Laval. Laval has Brocic, instead decides to shoot. And there was a rebound, but it didn't travel very far. And Lindsay able to scoop it up. Lindsay takes her time and punts it out towards midfield. That ball tailing toward the far sideline, and Dolphins will watch it roll away.
Substitution for the Dolphins. Number 4, Madison Baylardo replaces number 21, Samantha Laval.
Samantha Lavalle's day is done. No hat trick for Samantha today. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen her put up a hat trick this year, but that will not be the case in this one.
No, she had that 5-goal game against St. Joe's Brooklyn earlier in the season.
So it will be Madison Bayardo coming in for the College of Staten Island. Replacing Samantha Lavalle with about 7 minutes to go. Here comes Aparicio looking to make a move back toward the inside. Ball taken away by Lightcap and cleared over the far sideline for another Dolphins throw-in. It will be DeLoya to throw in, finds Lawrence Smith and receives the ball right back. She sends one into the midfield for Perello. Perello has Bracic well ahead of the Ravens defense, but getting there first was Emma Lindsay.
And another update on the CSI men's team. They have now gone up 2-0. Brian Navarro scoring his 16th goal of the season. Rebounded his own shot. So we have an own goal and a Bryant Navarro goal, which places him now 7th in the country in scoring, believe it or not.
You got to look at the shots on goal tally from that game. CSI 11-1 in that department. Does the NJCU goal scored on themselves count as a shot on goal?
It does not, unfortunately.
That was a rhetorical question.
I felt like answering it. The Dolphins really have one of the highest scoring offenses in the entire country. You know, you look at Philip Lefkowitz, who leads the nation in assists with 15. You have Joe Bolello, who has 14 goals on the year. Now you have Bryant Navarro with 15, or 16 now, I'm sorry. You know, that places him top 10 in the country in goal scoring. In past years, that's what the men struggled with. They struggled with putting the ball in the back of the net. Goals have been plentiful this season, and it continues here this afternoon while on the road.
Well, Mike and I have spoken about that in prior broadcasts. The Dolphins many times last year unable to break through with that key goal late in games or score enough to back up what really has been a stellar defense for each and every season I've covered this team the last 3 years. And goal scoring certainly has not been a problem for CSI this year. There has been no shortage of offense for the College of Staten Island in 2018. You mentioned some of the double-digit goal scorers. The Dolphins with 3 of those this year. Some attackers leading or among the leaders in the country in scoring. We just mentioned Bryant Navarro and Joe Bolello and Philip Lefkowitz also providing an offensive spark for the College of Staten Island, and that has been consistent throughout the year. It hasn't been from game to game. You've been able to count on those 3 players for the men all season long, as crossing it in front there was Lightcap and going down was Mazzeo in the box, and I think she wanted a foul call, will not get it, as we're now under 4.5 minutes to go in the second half. Ravens will throw in. Another 4-goal game for the College of Staten Island in this one. That's back-to-back games in which the team has scored 4 goals. And quickly looking through the schedule, they've done that several times this year already. I'm going to try and count up the games with 4 goals or more quickly, including this one. I see
it's 6 times, Joe.
6.
I was way ahead of you. I was reading your mind. You know, it doesn't take long to develop chemistry. We are now telepathic chemistry here.
Certainly the case on that one, and that's immediately coming off of public address. So good job there, multitasking and making the announcement to the Dolphins faithful, braving the weather and staying with us through the end of a 4-0 game. And then coming back onto the air with me and finishing my sentence for me, so I appreciate that. Lessening the workload on me a bit. As the Dolphins move forward, it's Appel looking for Bayardo up ahead. And she will fight for possession down in the corner with Dawson. Ball travels over the touchline once again. Another Dolphins corner upcoming.
You mentioned Madison Bayardo going after that ball. She is actually, believe it or not, listed as the backup goalkeeper here for the Dolphins. But she's also played forward in her high school days, so she has skill on the field. This is one of the few times she's actually gotten in the game up top. Let's see her make the most of it by capitalizing on this corner kick right here.
She's positioned near that post and had an opportunity to score, but it winds up being Lisbeth Aparicio who scores the goal. Bayardo got ahead on it, but it traveled across the goal mouth and onto the foot of Lisbeth Aparicio, who scores the 5th Dolphins goal.
You know, I was almost able to add future teller, fortune teller, whatever it is, to my resume here by calling that goal. Baylardo putting a head on that ball, going just wide, finding the foot of Lisbeth Aparicio.
Aparicio on the board for the Dolphins. As you get another look at it, corner kick taken by Perello, and I think Baylardo will get the assist on that one at the very least, and perhaps another hockey assist for Perello as well on the corner. And off the set piece, the College of Staten Island able to add a 5th goal late in the second half.
You would be correct there, Joe. That is one of those rare double assists once again. That is back-to-back games where we have a double assist off of a corner kick by Adriana Perello.
That's DiStefano going down in the midfield. She was fouled. And it will be a Dolphins free kick. Minute and a half to go in this one. CSI leads 5-0. Our score for the men on the road, 2-0. Men looking to improve to 14-4 on the season. Of course, they're a perfect 8-0 in the CUNYAC Conference. Receive a first-round bye through the CUNYAC tournament. Only 4 teams make it for the women. There will be no first-round byes, instead a semifinal round and a finals. As Perello moves in, perhaps another chance for the Dolphins. She puts one in front, and it's cleared away by Amber Buck with 1 minute to go in the game.
1 minute remaining in the game, 1 minute.
Tom right on top of that. As it's another Dolphins corner, and we've said that many times already in this one, as Baylardo was positioned in a good spot to head it in once again, but this time Lindsay ready for that ball toward the near post. Lauren Smith gives it back to Perello, who crosses it from the corner once again, and charging in was DiStefano, hoping to add another goal to her ledger. Ball sent out beyond midfield, and this will probably do it with about 20 seconds left. Mulligan moving along the near sideline. Baylardo has it, gives it up to Perello. 10 seconds to go. Perello working against a pair of Ravens. May look to cross it in front here. And Dawson will not allow that as she slides in front of Perello, preventing the cross from reaching its intended target. And with that, the College of Staten Island wraps up a 5-0 victory over the Ravens of Rosemont College. For the College of Staten Island in this game, a dominant performance statistically once again, winning the battle in shots 28-2, 17-2 in favor of CSI in terms of shots on goal. 12 corners for the College of Staten Island. In this one, they made a lot of those corners, scoring on one late in the second half. Fouls 7-5. Dolphins with 7, Ravens with 5. All 5's offsides calls in the game going against the College of Staten Island. And in the department that matters, 5 goals allowed by the Ravens in this one. CSI wins big, 5-0.
You know, you mentioned those 5 goals. The Ravens did well with 1 goal in the first half, really locking it in. And they came out in the second half, trying to keep it that way, but they opted to change their formation and turn it into more an offensive try, and that led to more openings for the Dolphins, and they surely made the most of it.
Well, it goes without saying, CSI will enter the CUNYAC tournament playing extremely well. They wrap up the regular season with a 3-game winning streak, and I was happy to wrap up the regular season doing a broadcast with you for the first time this year. Tom and I had a lot of fun bringing you this last regular season game of the year from the CSI Soccer Complex, and I think our engineer Dave Pizzuto deserves to get in the frame one final time for the 2018 regular season. He's been here all year long making our operation run, and I really enjoy doing this. I know Mike does as well, and I'm sure he'd like to thank our viewers from throughout the season as well. If you don't hear from us again this year, our next broadcast will be tomorrow night. Women's volleyball senior day against Baruch. CUNYAC tournament playoff positioning on the line. And then if you don't hear from us again after that, our next broadcast is quite a ways away. I believe it would be the women's CUNYAC tournament semifinal game possibly, or the first round game that the Dolphins may host. And then after that, I don't think there's an event on the schedule until basketball in November. So not a very crowded calendar for the next couple of weeks, but rejoin us tomorrow night for women's volleyball versus Baruch College. It is senior day. Our final score here from the CSI Soccer Complex on this afternoon. Dolphins 5, Ravens nothing. CSI improves to 10-6 overall and will carry a 3-game winning streak into the CUNYAC tournament. They, of course, are atop the CUNYAC standings this regular season as well. So from all of us here at the College of Staten Island, we thank you for listening and thank you for watching. This has been Joe Foreman alongside Tom Krichkowski and our engineer Dave Pizzuto. Cameraman Joe Masher bringing you CSI Women's Soccer, our final score, CSI 5, Rosemont College nothing. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a great Dolphin Day.
A Dolphin Day.
Dolphin Day.